Welcome to part one of this transformative four-part miniseries, Spiritual Wisdom Meets Constitutional Power. Join Damian and Graham in this conversational journey, where they explore the profound connections between spirituality, personal health, and the law that governs our rights. In today's episode, we begin with powerful personal testimonies that include near-death experiences and the lessons they've taught about resilience, the human body's capacity to heal, and the spiritual insights that emerge from life-changing moments. We'll also delve into the importance of understanding your inalienable rights and how breaking free from societal programming can lead to true independence and empowerment. This is more than just a conversation. It's a call to action for those seeking truth and deeper understanding in their lives. So whether you're here for inspiration, knowledge, or a new perspective, you're in the right place. In the event you don't know who he is, Graham Moore is a lifelong champion of individual rights and constitutional law, dedicating decades to upholding the principles of the English Constitution and the common law. As chairperson of the English Constitution Society, the English Constitution Party and English Exit, Graham has made it his mission to defend the sovereignty of the English people. His work resonates far beyond England, connecting principles of liberty to global movements for justice. One of Graham's landmark achievements was securing an injunction from the European Court of Human Rights to save the life of a 6-year-old child, standing firm against the British government in a case that exemplified his unwavering commitment to justice. Over his career, Graham has served as a Mackenzie friend, mentoring defendants and winning critical cases that have overturned convictions and exposed potential miscarriages of justice. Currently, Graham is at the forefront of major legal battles, including cases against the Metropolitan Police for alleged torture and ongoing high-profile appeals in the High Court. His courage in standing up for constitutional rights has not come without personal sacrifice. He has faced bans from social media platforms including Facebook and YouTube, set up by police and imprisoned, and even lost his job for standing by his principles. Through his Rumble channel and public advocacy, Graham's message is clear: the Constitution is the solution. His passion for sovereignty and individual liberty inspires countless people to stand up for their rights and embrace the principles that define a free and just society. So grab a spot of tea and let's join Damian and Graham as we embark on episode 1 of this transformative mini-series, Spiritual Wisdom Meets Constitutional Power.
Well, no, it is recording. Right, I'll shut up then. Sorry.
No worries.
Go on, you were going to say, sorry.
No, so I mean, obviously, we'll discuss different things about what are your actual rights and common law rights in terms of your kids being injected and different bits and pieces. And there's some important stuff there. It's easier for me. So again, this is not relating to the law, right? Well, it is and it isn't, right? But it's really important for people to understand this concept in relation to being jabbed or getting your vaccination for kids and all that, right? So I want people to understand, if you go back 400 years ago, and again, this is about historical fact, right? If you was left-handed, you stood a very strong chance of being burnt at the stake or in the witchy pond or executed in some way by the state, believing you was a witch, a wizard, or any other form of what they described in the day, right? Just because you was left-handed, right? And they now know that left-handed people, it isn't an abnormality of the brain, it's the brain working in a slightly different way, right? So people must understand what I'm trying to get at. Do you regard people that are left-handed, and if you want, this is a rhetorical question, as abnormal? Well, the answer is no.
Absolutely not, you're right.
Right, so their brain works in a slightly different way, and that's why they're left-handed. It's roughly 10% of the population of the world, right? Mainly, I may add, white people, right? For whatever reason that is, I don't know what it is, but that's the main reason. So once you understand that it's part of the brain function, it is not abnormal. It's just the way it works. Did we accommodate that? Well, I used to play golf. I play with a right-handed set, and the person playing with me could be playing with a left-handed set. I certainly wouldn't burn him at the stake, right? So once you understand that, if them people, meaning left-handed people, we won't put any other label on it, apart from everyone should know that the brain, and I know this because I was in a coma, right? And I was brain dead. When I come out of the coma, one side of my brain had completely shut down, but the whole functions had switched to the other side, right? And the reason why it did that was because the human brain is so clever that it knew, right? We need to switch over and let the other side of the brain repair. And in that instance, for about 2 years, it took, my personality changed, right? And then when the brain started switching back over, right? So it's a bit like, you know, changing out an engine, or if you're working in a data center, you'll switch to another generator, you'll switch over while you repair the other side. All of those things happen in nature and with us, right? So just to make sure people are clear what I'm saying, what happened with me was both sides of my brain now work, right? Not just one side being more dominant, but both sides work, and they done brain scans, and they quite like what they were seeing, right? From going from being brain dead, never being able to speak again, being a complete vegetation state, etc., to what I am now. And that was 30 years ago, right? So why am I saying this to people? Because what I believe is that, and I'm giving you one example, Asperger's, right? I believe that them people do not have a brain abnormality. Their brain function on one side of the brain is slightly stronger than what they call or describe as neurotypical, right? And they're born like that. It's not abnormal. They may have certain other functions that are far in advance of what we do, right? You get different elements of it, right? But this is the key point of what I'm saying to you. If you put foreign bodies, vaccines into your body, it exacerbates the functions of the brain because the body can't deal with it. And it affects that. And then that is what creates the far extended problems that you have with people with Asperger's. So I'm not saying that they are not vaccine damaged. What I'm saying is they started off, let's just say, as left-handed, right? And then you give them this injection, the jibby jab, whatever you want to call it, and all of a sudden the body works in a different way, and the brain functions literally exacerbate the different traits they had in their brain. Does that sort of make sense to what I'm saying to you? So
it does, and it's, you know, it leads me into something else, because you and I have had conversation previously off air, where you and I have had an incredibly similar experience, and it's given us, I think, a far more beyond the veil spiritual outlook on things, because we've been the other side. You and I have had that death experience now, and you can speak, you can testify. You know, this is your testimony that the body is a beautiful structure given the right ingredients, and I don't mean pharmaceutical ingredients. I mean, given the chance to rest, the right nutrition, the body will always heal itself. It's an incredible vessel. It's a God-created, a God-given vessel, and that's why we're constantly bombarded with poison. I mean, you came back from a potentially vegetative state where, quite frankly, you could have been in that coma for a certain period of time, and they could have switched the machine off, and that's good night, right?
Well, they
right?
asked to do that. They asked to do that. I mean, do you want me to briefly tell the story of that?
I do, you know, I think that's important because then I'm going to go on. I had a similar thing where I was dead on a building site, having been crushed to death. My body was the ham in the sandwich. I pushed somebody out the way of a runaway dumper, and I was crushed to death in front of my 18-year-old son at that time, and a 60-year-old Paddy named Danny, good lad. He was the guy I pushed out the way, and my body moved 2 ton of blocks a foot. Now, the only thing that actually saved my life was my arm came across and stopped my heart being crushed. But that then did the rib cage, the left side, popped the lung, and I had 10 broken bones, gone, just asphyxiated. And my experience from then on, where I left my body and went somewhere else, and then was pushed back in my body by an angel, Michael, the archangel. And my life changed from then on, and that was in 2017. And I was shown what was to come, which I couldn't make sense of at the time. But it took me a year and a half to mentally, because I had PTSD, because I was very much being crushed to death. I was alive while this whole process was going on. So I came back I came back to full health. It took a year and a half. That's the entire left side of my body was smashed. And I was told, you'll never have use of your arm. You'll never be able to do this. You'll never be able to do that. Everything they fucking told me I couldn't do, I said, I'll show you. I will. And I'll come back stronger. And I have. But I came back stronger mentally, physically, and emotionally. And that was, I put myself on gardening duty. When I was actually came out of intensive care, then the trauma ward, and then my mum, God bless her, she looked after me because I couldn't get on and off the toilet. I couldn't get in and out the bath. I'd gone from this strong, on the tools, groundwork, civil engineering, this strong construction man to be in the gym every night to just gone, smashed. But that paved the journey for what I am now and what I was to come, and the path that I'm now on, this spiritual path and learning the law and sort of putting good information out there. So anyway, I'll let you carry on, because they're very similar experiences in the fact that things changed from that point onwards. Does that make sense? And that we have a wider understanding of beyond the veil, and this, the nature of this reality. Would you agree?
Not so. So one of the things I'll say to you is, I wasn't surprised, or I wasn't shocked, but I was fractionally surprised when you told me your story. And I said to you, the same things happened to me. People like us, and what I mean by like us, right? I refer to us as the Tomorrow people, right? If anyone remembers that program, the Tomorrow people come back and they had, special interests, I call it, right? And they could do different things. It was an old program that was on the TV. It was a kids show, right? And they was called the Tomorrow people, right? And what I say to people, and I'll tell you the story of what happened to me, is I've met lots of people now that have died, right? And crossed over the other side. I'm not saying hundreds, I'm saying lots of people, and we find each other. So what happened with me, when I was younger, 24, I was in, so I got chicken pox for the second time. So I had chicken pox when I was a toddler, and the doctors didn't believe me dad, right? Didn't believe me dad. And my dad, and we was twins, right? So my twin sister had chicken pox. Let me tell you something. If you've got toddlers with chicken pox, you know what it is, and you know what they've got, right? Especially when you're walking up and down a hallway, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, right? So the point being, they said he can't have chicken pox again. When I was 24, I got it again, right? I caught it off my kids, who had caught it from an aunt who had shingles, right? The point I'm trying to make is, I started feeling quite unwell with this chicken pox. My wife went out to an engagement party or whatever it was, and she come back, and her words to my dad was, "He's acting strangely," right? Well, my brain had swelled inside my head, right? I was naked, trying to put a bed on top of my head to push my head onto a concrete floor because the concrete floor was cold. My body, even in that state, was telling me you need to cool your brain down, right? And if you go and have a look in Africa, when you see these little kids and nurses pouring water over the back of their head, what they're doing is cooling the brain down, right? And it's called encephalitis, right? It is absolutely lethal. It is more lethal than meningitis. Meningitis gives you a little bit of an indication because it travels up the spinal cord to the brain, right? Encephalitis don't do that. Encephalitis hits you, right? Straight in the brain that your body gets too hot, your brain starts to swell, and it's literally like cooking your brain in your skull, right? So if you imagine that happening, they called an ambulance. First ambulance refused to take me to hospital, right? And the doctor was there. As a doctor, lucky enough, I had a children's doctor who was a paediatrician in our local GPs who come out to me and knew straight away what I had. And he said, he's got encephalitis, get him to hospital. It's an absolute emergency, right? And I do mean it was an emergency. The first ambulance turns up and says, no, not having it. He's got meningitis. They actually contradicted the doctor, right? With all that experience.
Yeah.
By the way, she had an MBE as well for her services to children and to the medical profession, right? Next thing you know, what happens? They call another one out. They have all their hazmats. This is years ago, right? Puts me in the ambulance, takes me there, goes into this particular hospital. There's a whole story around this you wouldn't believe, right? Takes me into this hospital, and there's an argument between two different wards. One was the bright ward, which brain injury. Another one was diseases ward. And lucky enough, the bright ward won, right? And I went into that hospital. I was in a coma. They had me all geared up. I was literally fighting in the coma, right? Moving about, that to bandage all my hands up. I was extremely fit at the time, right? But they done some brain scans on me. I went quite slow. When I say slow, I mean not moving, not doing anything, etc. They've done some brain scans. This is rapidly moving through the story. They turned around to my dad and the rest of the family because my wife weren't in no fit state to talk to anyone. And they basically said he's brain dead. Right? We've done the scans. There's nothing in there. He's gone. Can we have his organs? Right? But I was still breathing. And my dad said, no, you're not having his organs. All the time he's still breathing. He's still alive. Right? I was lucky. Right? That so again, my mum died a year before of cancer. Right? Again, they did it again. Then they come in with an injection. And what a lot of people don't understand about this, there's great videos. They was trialing a new therapy or whatever it was for people in my condition, right? And it just happened to be a peptide, right? A certain type of peptide that is found in normal people's urine, right? It was discovered in America by I can't remember his name, but he's a doctor, and they've tried to shut him down, right? In many ways, right, for specific reasons. But
so he's a good doctor.
He's a good. Not only that, if I could find a video, that doctor, what he found out, and he come from either Russia or, funny enough, Ukraine, Eastern Europe, somewhere like that. But he was living and working in Russia. But he had discovered this peptide. I can't say, if this goes out on YouTube, I can't say the other thing that he discovered, right? But these peptides cured something else as well, right?
Right, okay.
Just to let you know, right? Major thing, they injected me with this stuff, which is not dangerous in any way, and they give me this thing. Nothing happened. They went to see me dad. And they said, we're asking your permission if we can give him another one. So my dad said, what are you talking about? He said, we want to double dose him. And then they literally said to my dad, it's kill or cure, right? And they give me a second dose, right? In the meantime, I have gone somewhere else that I can only take to be heaven, right? It was really bright. It was really white. It had 2 doors. There was a guy there, standing there, and he was basically instructing me to go through the left-hand door. My mum was there, who died a year before, right? She was saying, don't go through that door. And she was crying, don't go through that door, right? The point being, the person that was doing the instruction, who I take to be God, I don't know who that person was, started to listen. Now, I wasn't a religious person, but he started to listen. And then, and I had healers coming in. Bear in mind, I wasn't into healing. I wasn't into that type of thing. I just knew a lot of people. I was young. Everyone liked me. The point I'm trying to make to you, and what this actually tells you is, he turned around and said, go back through that door. The very door that my mum was pointing at. And I went back through that door. The doctors had told everybody, if he comes out of this coma, he will never speak again. He'll never lose his limbs again. He'll never think again. It won't be the same person. I went through that door and I come out of the coma. Not only did I come out of the coma, the doctors, I turned to my wife who's on my left and said, I love you. And the doctors come in and they said to me, what's your name? And I said, Mickey fucking Mouth. Now piss off, right? Part of the operation of my brain, it had switched to the other side, right? And it had started to repair the damage. So which meant I'll get emotional about this.
No, I'm laughing at your response because I think that was brilliant.
So people need to understand that when you've got people praying for you that you don't know all over the world,
beautiful.
When healers come in, it makes a difference. That's all I'm saying.
No, that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, Graham. And now I loved that response, what you said to the doctor, because that is a proper South London.
Yeah.
Love it.
So people don't. So one of the things, we get onto the law. What I'm trying to say to you is, people don't understand the power. They don't understand the energy, and they don't understand where it comes from. Right?
Mm.
Sometimes you don't understand these things. All right? You don't need to. You just understand that it is there, right? So let's get back onto another thing, and then we'll go on to the main point, which is the rights, etc., just to make sure people know where we're coming from. And by the way, I'm not overly religious now. I'm just a believer, right? And people need to understand let's get back to the Asperger's and people with who are not neurotypical. Neurotypical just means 80% of the population, 50% of the population, whatever it is, have what neurotypical people call neurotypical brains, right? So they work like me and you, right? The point being that there's another group of people, and I think I might have mentioned it on your show before, right? And they are what's known as dark personality, right?
Oh, the dark triad.
The dark triad, right?
Yeah.
So the dark triad is a psychopath, narcissist, or a Machiavellian, right? Yeah. I refer to them as the fallen angels, and there's a reason for it. They are different. They're not the same as Asperger's, right? They're not the same, but they have similar traits. their brain function is different. However, the dark personality, which are the people that get into these positions that are controlling us, they are evil in the purest sense. You cannot make a psychopath nice, right? You can't make a narcissist nice. You can't make a Machiavellian nice, right? It is their brain functions in a different way, and that's why I refer to them as fallen angels, right? And once you understand what's actually going on, and especially in our current world, they are 10% of the population. And the way the system is designed, by the way, by them, is that their people get to the authoritative positions. And once that happens, that's when you get continuous wars. Many judges, barristers, lawyers, solicitors are dark personality. So when people start going to court and say, these are my rights, and you're looking at someone with absolute no empathy towards you whatsoever, that will lie, will defraud the system, will disobey their oath, it is because they are a dark personality, right? They are a fallen angel, and that is who you're talking to, right? So all I'm trying to do is just explain to people there are lots of others, including Damian, me. There's many other people out there have had this experience, right? For me, it's quite emotional. If I've had a drink, I can't even talk about it. And the reason I can't is because I see me mum.
Yeah.
So the emotion of knowing, right, that when you go to the other side, you see people, right? And they're still there. They've gone. Many people say a lot of things about David Icke. I think he's one of the only people that's ever told us the truth from the beginning. How he knew it, I don't know, right?
He was getting spiritual downloads.
Well,
no doubt.
And I've got no doubt that if that's what he says happened, that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
So again, all I'm trying to say to people is there's genuine people. And by the way, it completely changes your life, right? It changes your outlook. It changes the way you interact with people. If you was once violent, nasty, horrible, and someone out there on the other side said, you know, sometimes we need that type of people to defend the good people. And they might do a little tweak and send you back, right? And in my opinion, that's what happened with me. And bearing in mind, it took me 2 years. And don't forget, they said I'd never walk again. I'd never speak again, right? So imagine the doctor saying all that, and then you're standing up in front of people, you know, sometimes hundreds in Texas, you know, thousands of people, and you're speaking to people, right? But they don't know the story behind you. And again, getting back to the vaccinations, my personal opinion of, and again, it is from studying this, right? So I have got a number of, and I just want people to make sure they're really aware of this, right? I have a number of what I would describe as special interests, right? One of them is the law and the Constitution, right? The common law, the Constitution, and what protects us, right? What I call God's law. And people must understand, I also, for various reasons, am very interested in Asperger's, narcissists, dark personality, and I think that is part of it. And I'm looking for that, right? I look for it in people. I often see it in people, and once you understand it, you've taken their mask off, you can see them. But I want to
right through the persona, yeah,
right through the persona. That's exactly what it's about. Everything with narcissists, psychopaths, Machiavellians is a persona. To some degree, and especially with women, you get the same issue with Asperger's women, right? And that is they create a persona, right? And it's not, what they do is they mimic other people, right? They mimic other ladies around them. Because they don't get the emotion, right? It's like, and I was married to as Asperger. My wife was Asperger, right, for 33 years, right? And you get to understand it, and then once you do, you understand that they're not nasty people in any way, right? They're not nasty. There is no nastiness to them. They may have similar traits to dark personality, but they are not malicious. They're not evil. They don't hate. If the world was full of Asperger's people running the world, you wouldn't have any wars, because they don't suffer the same emotional deficiency that neurotypical people have got. We've got, when I call it a deficiency, I mean our brains, right, are overloaded. So I called it a deficiency. Really and truthfully, it's a bad thing. So this is talking about jabs again, right? And people must understand they're just like people that are left-handed. And what we thought of people left-handed 500 years ago is the same thing, right? Because people will realize that Asperger's is a positive, not a negative. They are highly intelligent. They don't hate, but they don't love in the same way as us. But they've got other attributes, and the attributes are far, far, far better, right? They've got loyalty, they've got commitment, and they've got extreme honesty, right? Well, who would you rather as a member of parliament, right? Would you rather have a fallen angel or a dark personality, which you've currently got now,
Yeah.
an Asperger or a neurotypical? And the neurotypicals can be kept in line by the Asperger's, right? Because they'd say, that's illogical, right? Or no emotion. What are you doing? I mean, I used to have a little fun. When my wife used to call me, it used to come up on my phone, and I had a picture of Spock's wife on there to remind me when I was talking to her why she couldn't communicate properly, right? And don't forget, she was lovely in every way. When we had a family, you've got 2 kids, so what I'm trying to say to everyone out here is, if them people, and this gets onto your rights, if them people have got that, and as a baby you don't know, right? And someone sticks a jab in them, and it exacerbates that, right? And in effect, the jab creates an injury that exacerbates the way that it works in a different way. And that's what you're seeing.
Which they know, don't they? The dark forces know what they're doing.
Well, again, people don't realise narcissists are not born. They are created in childhood, and they are created in adolescence, right? But once that trigger point happens, you can never change their personality. And it happens through some form of abuse, right? Child abuse, whatever. So if you then look at a dark personality that's a psychopath, the psychopath wants to create people like him, right, or her, but they can't interfere with who's being born and who's not being born. So what's the next level? If you abuse children, you will get narcissists and you will get Machiavellians, right? And then you can look at the traits. It's really important that people understand this. You can look at the attributes, traits, and the tactics of that group of people, and they jump off the page at you, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden they come out of crowds and you know who they are, right? It's literally shining a light on demons, right?
Yeah.
And that's the major thing. But I just wanted, because we were talking about jabbing kids, no, you shouldn't do it.
And that brings us to the end of this first episode of Spiritual Wisdom Meets Constitutional Power. What an incredible start to this journey. Stories of resilience, healing, and the deeper truths that shape our existence. Be sure to stay tuned, because in episode 2, we're diving into the hidden forces that shape our world. From the startling realities of chemtrails to the ancient principles of common law that might just hold the key to protecting your rights. It's an episode filled with revelations you won't want to miss. So be sure to join us for part 2, where we continue uncovering the profound connections between spirituality, law, and the power of truth. Be sure to click the like and subscribe buttons so you don't miss these riveting episodes. Until then, take care and keep seeking the wisdom within.
Ever grappled with the labyrinth that is the legal system? It's a maze of jargon, procedures, and power plays that can stump even the most intelligent among us. Enter How to Win in Court, a transformative course designed to level the playing field, brought to you by the dynamic partnership of Sovereign Empowerment and Dr. Frederick Graves. This course is like a compass, guiding you through the intricate passages of the legal system. It provides powerful case-winning strategies and tools for controlling solicitors and persuading judges. This isn't just about understanding the law, it's about empowering you to use the law to your advantage. This comprehensive course eliminates guesswork and empowers you to navigate the legal landscape with confidence. Imagine having step-by-step instructions at your fingertips, demystifying the complex world of court cases. With How to Win in Court, that's precisely what you'll get. There's a treasure trove of sample forms, video seminars, audio clips, and comprehensive classes waiting for you. Finally, you'll have all the tools you need to persuade and control judges in any case or court. The beauty of this course is its accessibility. Whether you're an early bird or a night owl, you can dive into the course material anytime with round-the-clock online access. And no matter the device, be it your smartphone, tablet, or laptop, you'll have seamless access to the course. You'll also gain access to invaluable tools like the free online legal research tool, legal dictionary, and a Q&A forum. Learn from a seasoned attorney with over 40 years of winning experience who has distilled his expertise into this comprehensive program. These resources are like having a personal legal advisor, always ready to assist you, but without having to pay exorbitant legal fees. For those struggling to afford a solicitor, this course is a beacon of hope. Good people have suffered too long at the hands of power because they didn't know how to fight back, or they didn't have access to the right resources. Now, in a matter of just a few days, you can acquire the tools and the knowledge that it takes law students years to achieve. With the right knowledge and tools, you'll be able to navigate the legal waters with confidence, winning your case without expensive legal representation. Alternatively, if you already have a solicitor, you can equip them with the tools and tactics to fight effectively on your behalf. Level the playing field and secure your victory. And the cherry on top? Upon course completion, you'll receive an honorary law degree, a testament to your newfound legal prowess. No matter what court, civil or criminal, you'll be able to conquer any courtroom challenge with ease. This step-by-step guidance ensures a quick and straightforward learning experience, empowering you to navigate the legal system with bulletproof confidence. That's right, the power to navigate the legal system is now within your reach. All it takes is the will to learn and the courage to empower yourself. Everyone deserves access to the right legal knowledge. That's why we offer the jurisdictionary law course at an unbeatable price. For less than the cost of a 1-hour legal consultation, you'll gain unlimited access to this complete program for up to 2 full years. Take control of your legal battles without breaking the bank. So why wait? Enroll in the jurisdictionary course today and take that first step towards legal empowerment. How to Win in Court has become the most trusted law course worldwide for almost 30 years. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity to gain the upper hand in the courtroom. Your journey to mastering the legal system starts here. When you have access to the right resources, you will become a force to be reckoned with in any courtroom. So click the link now to become empowered with all the information you'll ever need to know how to win in court. Learn how to use the court system that is there to protect you, your family, your property, and most of all, your rights.